Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best, if he wins, knows the thrills of high achievement, and if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat."
My friend Bobby from Caron Treatment Center. That's a big day, bro.
Very.
Caron Treatment Center changed my life, dude. I can't remember like the first time like we talked in Caron. I just remember that whenever that was, it was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a pretty good group when we were there.
Yeah, definitely great connection.
Yeah, just go a little closer.
Okay.
Yeah. Carlos, Big Chris, Little Chris, Matt.
Yep. What was the guy at night who sat there? What was his name?
I know he's like, you forget some of the guys.
Yeah, but no, he wore the hat, baseball hat at night. He was sat there. He was the guy.
Nate?
No, it's the guy who took care of us at night.
Oh shit! I always forget
I talked to him how many nights. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And then there was the Marine guy.
Yeah.
He was a soldier.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but he was a cool dude. He would give my phone and let me run in the morning with it. The couple times that I did it.
He let me sleep in the conference room for the first week.
Did he? Yeah, those dudes were great.
Yeah.
I'm going back up there on the 3rd to see Dorothy.
Are you? What's your anniversary date?
The 28th, October 28th. You're October 15th?
15th.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy, man?
Whole year.
I know.
A lot happened in a year.
I know. And I was thinking, like I'm a big movie guy, right? And like, you know, I always like hear different things from like shows and movies and they make sense to me. So you ever see True Detective?
Mm-mm.
So there's like 3 or 4 seasons. Vince Vaughn is in season 2 and he's going to kill this kid's dad, right? And he's talking to the kid and he says to the kid, you know, kid, there's a handful of before and after moments in your life where your life is never the same after the event takes place. And basically, if you want to do something down the road, I'll be around. You know what I mean? No one's going to kill his dad. So like those before and after moments are like, you know, we have a million of them.
Right.
But only a handful, I think, really changed the course of your life. And, you know, one of your before and after moments, I didn't even know you. Right? You had 20 years sober.
Yep.
But before we get into how we met, like what was it like for you prior to having the 20 years sober? You know, what was your family dynamic like? What happened for you to go down that path? And let's get into that a little bit.
No problem. Family dynamics. I was the youngest of 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 older brothers and a sister. Mom and dad, you couldn't ask for better parents. My dad was respected in so many different ways.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, he was just a fabulous man. And my mom, same thing. You know what I mean? They were involved in everything. And it wasn't, how can I say it? It wasn't anything that they did. Do you know what I mean? Growing up for me, like I said, my dad worked for himself. We had 3 grocery stores. So for me, I played sports. We were all involved in sports. We all worked in the stores. We all, you know, like I said, we had good lives. You know what I mean? But I guess for me, what it really was is that my brothers and sisters were, my oldest brother's Joe, he's 10 years older than me. My brother Jimmy's 9, my sister's 8, and my brother's 5. And then 5 years later, it was me. I always say it was the oops.
Yeah.
But for us having a big family and that stuff, I think I tried to grow up before I should have.
What do you mean, like put a lot of pressure on yourself?
I saw what my brothers were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like them. And they were, you know, they were fabulous. They had so many friends. They were out doing everything. And yeah, you want to say like your own identity. Like I could still go to places today and they say I'm the youngest Auguste. You know what I mean? I don't even have a name. You know what I mean? I'm 55 years old and I don't have a name. You know
You're the
what I mean?
young one.
Yeah, I was the mascot. I really was. I was the mascot of the family. I was the baby of the family. Oh, you're the youngest. You're Jimmy's brother. You're Joey's brother. You're Beaver's brother. You know, it was never your Bobby.
Right.
You know? And I think that played a lot into it in my own mind. Nobody else's but mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, party, had fun. You know what I mean? Went to college, went to Villanova.
That's right. Nova played football for a little bit.
Played football at Villanova for, how could I say? We got, it was 26 of us got recruited as freshman class. 4 of us made the travel team. I made the travel team, played, and then blew my shoulder out. And I think because I had something to fall back on, because my dad had the grocery stores, it was easy for me to leave school.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I didn't have that, I might have stayed. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't change it.
Did your dad put any heat on you when you decided to leave school?
No.
He was good with whatever you wanted to do?
My oldest brother, Joey, went to Delaware, played football for 2 years, came home. My brother, Jimmy, went to Lehigh for a year and a half. He came home. My sister went to business school up in our area, 2 years. She did that. And then my other brother, he went to Johnson and Wales and then came home.
Okay.
But we stayed in the family business. And
everybody?
Everybody.
Really?
Yeah, it was 5 of us. But then we expanded from 1 grocery store to 3 grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
So we had three IGAs in 3 different towns. Life was good. I was 20-some years old, making a lot of money. You know, life was good.
And everybody was close? So your brothers and your sister, everybody was close?
Everybody was close. Everybody partied. We had all birthday parties. Everything was together. You know? And then, like I said, I guess it was 80. I left college in 89 in the spring, and that July, I met my wife.
Right. How'd you meet her?
Through a past friend. We'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, that's how I met her, and by chance, and like I said, it was July 31st, 1989. I took her on her first date.
No shit.
Yeah. I guess it was, April 10th of 91. I know the dates.
Yeah.
April 10th of 91. I asked her to marry. Got married June 5th, 92.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just boom, boom, boom. All my brothers and sisters were married already, and figured I should too.
So 89, you met her. 92, you're married.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, bought the house next to my parents.
Is that where you live today?
That's where I live today.
Okay.
Yeah, in Lake Hotto. It's a development up in Lake Hotto, 3 mile long lake. It's a great place to raise a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little private. Now it's getting a little. Everybody found out what it is. You know what I mean? Ever since the pandemic, everybody's coming there and buying houses, ripping them down, and putting up $1 million homes.
You know, down the shore they call us shoebies. Right, my wife and I have a place down the shore. Like we own a place too, but still, unless we live there full time, and even then, there's like a limit. Like you need to be down here X amount of years before you really are down here. So they call us fucking shoebies. What's it like when people move in?
Mup years they call them, or something like that. You know,
I'm sure you're a great person, but you're fucking annoying me.
Yeah, we always call them the yellow plates.
Because of the license plate?
Yeah, New York and New Jersey, the yellow plates.
That's great. That's great. So, 92, you get married.
Yep.
And
95 was first child.
First child, okay.
And then 97 was the second one. We had opened up the other grocery stores in that time. Life was good. Like I said.
Was your wife a part of it too, or did she have her own path?
None of the in-laws were a thing. We made an agreement as a family that none of the in-laws would work in the stores.
Really?
Well, basically, I could tell my brother off, or my brother could tell me off, but I couldn't tell his wife.
Right.
So we didn't want that conflict.
I get it.
So that's why we just kept it that way.
And your wife was okay with that?
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife stayed home. She had a really rough pregnancy. My wife we were never supposed to have kids. She had endometriosis really bad. Actually, her gynecologist, when she got pregnant, he actually hugged her. Gave her a kiss and said, "I never thought you'd have kids."
And then after the first one, did the odds go up or they stayed the same?
Same thing.
Really?
Yep, and then we had the second one right away. And then it was 3 years later. Gianna came in 2000 and Dante in 2002.
Wow. And because all your kids are healthy and everybody's good, obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
Man, 2002, it's hard. Like, I mean, it's probably the same for me. Like when it comes to you, but like I think 2002, like I graduated high school a year before that. That's your last kid.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, like even 1989.
I was 33.
I joked around last podcast, 1989. I only remember this. I was in first grade, and why I remember it is because I wrote a love letter to Laura Martin, and I put the date on it. Whatever the date was, 1989.
But just photocopy and still have it? Or
no,
what?
I just remember. Maybe it was the first love letter I ever wrote, but I put the fucking date on it. So, Laura Martin, she was great.
Yeah. So, like I said, 2002 was when, I guess, I would say 2001. We were opened a third store. It wasn't going well. Mm-hmm. We were up there. My mother-in-law got diagnosed with ALS. We had 4 children. It was rough. It was really rough. And like I said, it just, at that time, the drinking and all that stuff, then I started doing coke, and the drugging started, and just my life got out of control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, do you ever look back, like, because I agree with what you said earlier. Like, my family, whether it was good or bad, never was a reason why I drank.
No.
It started off because it was fun. Maybe there's like trying to fit in type stuff, and then I fell in love with it, and you know what happened. But what was your situation? I mean, with the coke and the drinking, were you feeling the pressure, or just
Yeah, at
an
that time I
outlet?
was feeling the pressure. For the most part, I was a binge drinker. Like we would, how can I say it? We'd work 12 days, get 2 days off. That's the way my brothers and I work. So
The whole family.
the whole family, yeah. We work 12 days, get 2 off. Work 12 days, get 2 off. So when you had those 2 days off, you partied. You know what I mean? And you did as much as you could. I mean, holidays, forget about it. My brothers could tell you stories about Easter and Thanksgiving. That's all. I was real bad. You know? You'd go out the night before because you didn't know you didn't have work the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you work for yourself and your family, it's tough sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, but the family pressures and all, it just all got there. It just came to the point where I was more a drinker. I wasn't really into the drugs. And then once I got into doing coke, it just
Took off.
off.
It took off.
There was nothing like it.
There
Nothing
really
like,
isn't.
There's nothing like being up. There's nothing like getting accomplished, getting everything done. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, it took a hold of me. And like I said, having 4 children, 33 years old, started drinking when I was 11. You know, things were starting to come where I had to have all the answers, and I didn't.
Yeah, you're feeling the pressure. You're feeling the pressure. So, I mean, I know you had the 20 years sober, right? And
After
I know
that, yeah.
and I know you're about to have a year now. So, what happened with your family? Like, you know, before it got so bad where you checked yourself into rehab, what was your family situation like back then with the wife and the kids?
Everything was good. Like I said, what were you talking, 2002?
You like before you went to rehab the first time?
The first time, yeah, everything was good. Like I said, it was just struggles of life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I said, you just have a business. You're trying to do everything. You're trying to go to work every day. All of a sudden, you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I have 4 kids at home.
Right.
I have a two-bedroom house at the time. I have to remodel my house. I need more bedrooms. I'm not moving from the place we are, so I got to rip my house apart. And it just got to me. You know what I mean? Just like that, boom, before you know it, I was doing way too much coke.
Did you try to stop on your own before you went to treatment?
Yeah, I tried to stop.
Yeah, it's fucking so hard. Dude.
Yeah. It was Thanksgiving of 2002. I basically, the way I say it is I lost respect for everybody in my life and myself. I lost all respect. You know what I mean?
Why for everybody else?
Because I felt like nobody was there for me. You know how we get into that cloud and we get into that place where in our own head where we think we're just by ourselves. And probably that was the drug telling me that. That was my addiction telling me that there was nobody there.
When you put some clean time together, did you like kind of reevaluate that situation? Like, I'm not saying it was all you or it was them or it was a combination, but it's so easy for us to blame everybody else when we want to get high and drink and people were in our way. I mean, because I hated everybody. So I get it. It was everybody else's fault. I go to work every day. You know what I mean? So
but that Thanksgiving day, I had to go over and check on the store. And I went over to the store and I was like, oh, man, I can't stop. This is bad. It's really bad. So I had a high school buddy who was the fullback. I was the tailback. And this guy is it. Perfect. Like I used to never take a book home. He'd take every book home. You know what I mean? Yeah, he went on to Syracuse. He's a phenomenal guy.
Right.
I haven't talked to him probably in 5 years. I picked up the phone and I said, Thomas. And he said, Robert, what's up? You know what I mean? And we started talking. I said, hey, listen, I need your help. I said, I lost respect for everything. This is what's going on. He said, I'll be there tomorrow.
Is he a sober guy or just a friend?
Just a friend.
Nice.
Like I said, high school buddy, been friends. So he drove up the next day. He said, hey, this is what's going on. You got a week? Tell everybody what's going on, how bad you're messed up. You need help, or I'll tell them.
Really?
Yep.
So you came clean?
Came clean.
So your wife and your kids had no idea. They just, you're just working so much. It's probably hard for them to even realize what you're fucking doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So what was your wife like when you told her?
Oh, bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But.
Because you totally blindsided her.
I married a beautiful woman. That's all I could tell you. She stayed with me through everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing. And like I said, when we're in active addiction, we're dicks.
Yes, we are.
You know what I mean? We don't care about anybody else but ourselves.
No, you're in the way.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I know.
Like I said, my wife, my mom, my dad, my family, they stayed through me. Like I said, the first time I went to rehab, I came out of rehab and how could I say it? For me, if I look back on it, school, sports, everything came easy in life. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't have to put the work into it. When I came out of rehab the first time, I did a meeting or went to church every day for a year, 365 days. And I thought, I need to do this the right way. I need to lay the foundation down. And I got all that from Caron the first time.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was at Caron in 2002, and Caron changed my life in 2002. And like I said, when I did that, then I started to get into coaching youth sports and all that. Then my children were getting into the sports. You know what I mean? And then I started to use going to meetings, coaching sports. You know what I mean? They always say, your recovery is unique and it's your own. You know what I mean? You have to figure out what works for you, and that's what worked for me. I didn't get sober to sit in the rooms.
No.
I got sober to be with my kids.
Yeah. I always joke with my wife, like, I didn't get sober to be fucking average. Like, it's time to live, dude, because, like, drinking and using, it just sucks the life out of us. Like, and I've said this a bunch of times, but you're a Seinfeld fan?
Yeah.
So, Costanza, do you remember he stops getting laid in the one episode? He stops getting laid, and all of a sudden he's like this articulate, like very insightful guy. And then at the end of the episode, he all of a sudden is George again. And Jerry's like, "What happened?" He's like, "I slept with the Portuguese waitress." And like that's fucking sobriety. You stop drinking, you stop using, and now you can think about other things that matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your first year, your meetings, church, coaching, and then
everything, and just life just kept going. Life was good.
It was good.
Oh, very good. Like I said,
Marriage is great. Kids are good.
Marriage is good. Everything's going good. 2009. 2007, we ran into some money problems. The store started to get really bad. 2009, we lost 2 of the stores. It was the recession. Walmart came into town.
Yeah.
And we were IGAs in the area, and we lost.
What does IGA mean?
Independent Grocery Association.
Got it.
So it was like the old Acme AMPs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at that time, I went a little over a year without a paycheck raising 4 kids.
Wow.
I lost my home equity loan, went to help the store, paid my own bill. You know what I mean? I went a whole year without it. And I had another best friend, guy who is incredible. His name's Gary. I went over to him. I said, "Hey, listen, I need a job." He was the CEO of a manufacturing company. He said, "Bobby, I could probably get you a job in the union or something." I said, "Yeah, I just need something. I don't lose my house. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to." So I talked to my brother and that stuff, and the stores were right at the end. I said, I have a chance to get a job. So I went over and got a job. So I started working second and third shift. So then I had to stop coaching. Then I had to stop doing all that kind of stuff. And I did that I worked second and third shift. My one brother started a vineyard. So he was at the vineyard. So I'd go over to the vineyard and work. I met a guy that was selling cars. His son was playing football at mine. So I would drive and pick cars up at the auction. I was doing everything to pay the bills.
What happened to the last store, the first store?
My one brother kept the one store.
Okay.
He still has it, and he still has it to this day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, that was really bad. And then in 2013, in my backyard, kids are playing. I used to throw football parties in my backyard for the high school team.
Okay.
We lived close to the high school team, which where I went to Marian Catholic. So when I stopped coaching, I said, "Hey, let's just have people over to the house after the game." You know what I mean? It's everybody going out to eat and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we put it out to all the parents. We put 2 tents up in the backyard and say, "Hey, drop a crock pot off. Bring pizza to the game." Before you know it, I had 200 people in my backyard.
Really?
Oh, it's freaking insane. Everybody loved it. They still talk about it.
It's probably awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
And then up in our area, we have a thing called Friday Night Football. And the local TV station shows clips and highlights of every game.
Right.
So one of the neighbors gave me a projector, and we put a big white tarp up in the backyard, and that came on at 10:30. So everybody would be there, we'd get something to eat, and then that would be up in the back, and then we'd put the football games up there, and 11 o'clock, everybody would leave.
Right.
And it was perfect.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole community is at your place.
Yeah, it really was. And the kids loved it, the parents loved it, So it was everything was good. And like I said, in 2000, one of the guys that was there was a neighbor down the street, and he owned a restaurant.
Okay.
And he was having a little bit of a hard time finding somebody to manage it. And I said to him, because I had thought about, I can't be doing this the rest of my life. I hate it. I hate working third shift. It's not good.
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Second shift was the worst. Anybody that works second shift, I give them all the credit in the world.
Yeah, because everything, at least third shift, they're sleeping while you're working. Second shift, you're missing everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I started to miss coaching and missing all that kind of stuff. So I walked up to him and said, "Hey, I'd like to manage a restaurant." He's like, "Yeah, okay, last at me." And Okay. So he had a couple beers in the backyard and that kind of stuff. I'm sober, this whole time. And I walked up to him again and I said, hey, I'd really like to run your restaurant. He goes, you serious? I said, yeah. He said, let me think about it. 7 o'clock the next morning, he called me. He said, you want to come on over? So I went over to his house. We talked. Like 2 weeks later, I started working for him. Mm-hmm. And I said, you go, show me what you got. Show me what your things. 6 months later, he hired me full time. So that was 2000. That was May of 2014.
Okay. So at this point, you're like right around 10, 12 years sober?
Yep.
Right?
No, that was 2004, 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years sober.
12 years sober. Mm-hmm. So start for him on May 1st. May 1st, 26th is Memorial Day weekend. So Memorial Day weekend's there. I'm at the restaurant working. Everything's fine. Go home. Get something. We're down at the beach. Like I said, I live by the lake. Mm-hmm. Nice fellow. So we're there. Kids are saying old guys against the young guys playing volleyball.
I remember this story.
So we're playing volleyball. So we were there. It might have been the second or third point. I jumped up, spiked the ball. I came down. I was like, man, something doesn't feel right. I looked at the one kid sitting there. I said, I need a break. I took one step and died. Gone.
Really?
Bit the dirt.
What happened?
Everybody's screaming. Everything's going on. So they rolled me on my side. No CPR, no nothing. Roll me on the side. When they roll me on my side, my valve opens up. Here, I had a bicuspid valve and it calcified. My aortic valve closed.
Okay.
So I died right there on the beach. When they rolled me on my side, I left a little bit of blood come through. Got my eyes opened up, sand, people screaming.
Somebody knew to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The kid that was going to school said, I think we should roll him on his side. So they rolled me on my side. When they rolled me on my side, my valve opened. The doctor said just the tiniest little bit.
Just enough.
Just enough. And that got the blood flowing, opened my eyes. Next thing you know it, I'm in an ambulance driving down the Lehigh Valley, get to Lehigh Valley Hospital. Walk in, there's like 10 doctors all over me. I'm 44 years old at this time.
Wow.
And, didn't realize I had a heart problem. I always had a heart murmur. I had a heart murmur. No cardiologist, none of this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, we go up for a catheterization, and the guy's doing a catheterization. He looked around the corner and goes, hey, buddy, you're not going home today. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you're not going home. You're having open heart surgery sometime soon. Like,
wow, that's what he said to you.
Right up the guy. Yeah, it was like, I said, what are you talking about? He said, no, this is bad. So the doctor, I was very lucky. Luck has been on my side many times through my life. It really has, and I guess it's the guy upstairs, but I don't pay attention that it's coming from him. But one of the best heart valve replacement surgeons on the East Coast was on duty, on call that weekend. And when you know it, he fought and fought and fought for me to have open heart surgery the next day. And he got it. The hospital was saying, nope, can't have it. You're on call. This guy has to wait. Just make sure he's stable.
But isn't that why he's on call for?
Well, he was on call in case other emergencies came in. He was the on-call doctor.
Okay.
So he goes, I've been here for 30 years. I am doing surgery on this guy. He's 44 years old. His wife and his 4 children are standing out there with tears in their eyes. He says, are you going to tell me that I'm going to wait another day to do this? You got to be crazy. He said, I'll get my nurses in. I'll get my own team in to do the surgery. Mm-hmm. He said, you just cover, at the hospital have to cover me. And they did it. I had open heart surgery the next morning, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
I want to talk about life-changing.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
I'm sitting there.
Because prior to that point, you're just an active, normal dad coaching, working second, third shift, like just kind of making ends meet.
Yep, and just started a brand new job, left the union.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brand new job, there 25 days and gone. It was like, what the fuck am I going to do? You know what I mean? So it was life-changing, laying there thinking, did I do everything right so far? Did I do not?
Yeah, thinking this might be the end.
That was a very, very rough night laying in the hospital. My 2 oldest boys stayed with me. They slept on the bed right with me, and I'm looking down at them thinking, I might not be here tomorrow. I might not come out of this. Did I do everything right so far? It was tough. That was tough.
All that self-reflection in like a 12-hour, 24-hour period, that's amazing.
And you think about how much time you wasted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you go back before that, I'm 33 years old, for the first, no, at this time, what was it? I was 14 minus 69.
14 minus what?
69.
69, 59, 50,
45.
Yeah.
44. You're 44 years old. I'm 44 years old. Did I do everything right?
Right.
I wasted how many years of my life being drunk and an alcoholic and an addict and all that kind of stuff. Now, for the last 10, did I do enough?
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So what was your wife like at this time? She's probably like, what the
She was a wreck.
Yeah.
She was a wreck. Yeah. Yeah, she was a wreck. And it was...
And because your kids are all still relatively young at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My oldest was graduating high school. Next one was a junior. My daughter was in 8th grade. I think my son was in 6th grade. And my son actually graduated that Saturday from high school. I had open heart surgery on Monday morning, and I made it to his graduation.
Wow.
I said, I'm going. This is my oldest son. I'm making it to graduation.
So after the surgery, you got out quickly and
5 days.
Really?
5 days.
And now what?
I told him I was. Lied it out. You know, you're supposed to go to the bathroom. You're supposed to work. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I want to get the hell out of here. I want to get the hell out of here.
Typical fucking old school Italian guy.
It was just, and then the other thing was that was Saturday. That Monday, 7 days after open heart surgery, I went back to work. And everybody's like...
Is this all against doctor's orders too, I imagine?
Everybody's orders that you could imagine. But at that time, I'm sober. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I got 12 years sobriety in me. I knew what this head would do.
Yeah, with all the downtime.
I said, here I am doing everything in life, doing everything right, and all of a sudden everything stops. Now you want me to sit in this chair for the next couple months, just do cardiac rehab, do all this kind of stuff. And that's not good for me.
Yeah.
I said, I need to go to work, and I want to go back on Monday. And I went back on Monday. My boys would drive me to work. My boys would lift everything. I'd be there for 2 or 3 hours just to keep this going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then it was walking down the street and then walking around the block and all that kind of stuff. But I knew that if I would have sat in that chair, I would have been poor Bob.
Right. So you didn't physically overdo it. You just had to move around a little bit and stay active and engaged in your job and keep your head going.
I had to keep this busy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I should never be up here by myself.
No, that's like the biggest enemy, right? They tell us. So what was your sobriety like up to this point? Like, were you still engaged, involved in meetings, sponsor, all that stuff?
Yep. I never sponsored anybody.
No, but you had a sponsor.
I had a sponsor, but I never sponsored. And the reason why I didn't sponsor was I had 4 sponsees, my 4 children.
Right.
And if you ask my kids, you know, I talked about addiction. I talked about, you know, make sure where you're going, make sure this, make sure you deal with your problems, make sure you do everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were my sponsees.
Well, you said it earlier on, like your sobriety is unique to you, and that's what worked for you.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. My dad was the same way. He had the 20 years before he passed away. I don't think he ever had any sponsors. He had a sponsor, but it was us. Yeah. It was us in sports and our lives, and trying to help us navigate life as addicts, because my sister and I both are, and so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't get sober to sit in the rooms. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But as the story goes on, you need to stay connected.
Yeah.
So I guess it was 2018, September, at work, and phone rings, and it's my mom. And my mom says, "Bobby, could you come home? There's something not right with Dad." I was like, "Okay." He goes, "Oh, no, can you come home right now?" So my parents live next door to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, my restaurant's only 4 miles from my house. You know what I mean? So
at this point, you had your own place, right? Your own restaurant.
Well, like I said, because in 2017 I bought it off the gentleman.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 2014 I started working for him. 2017 I bought it off, and that was a gentleman's agreement. He honored it. You know what I mean? It was great.
Nice.
So in 2018 September, my mom calls me and says something not wrong with Dad. I said, okay, so get in the car, drive home as fast as I can. My dad's standing in the back of the car, and my mom's like, "Bobby, you gotta help him." I was like, "Dad, what's up?" He goes, "Something's not right. Something's not right." So he's leaning on the car. I said, "Okay, let's walk in the house." So we start walking in the house, sitting down at the kitchen table. He says, "Joey, what are you doing here?" So, okay, no problem. He said, "Dad, you need something to drink?" I said, "Okay." My mom had already called the ambulance. The ambulance is not there yet. I go over, get a drink of water out of the thing, turn around, and he goes, "Donnie, what are you doing here?"
Oh, man.
Donnie was my mom's brother, which is brother-in-law, who passed away a few years ago. And right then and there, my dad was brain dead. Massive stroke. Yeah. Massive stroke. By the time they got him in the hospital, nothing worked. He got flown to Bethlehem that night. They told us he was brain dead, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had some conversations about our dads and treatment, but that
yeah, my dad was the rock. My dad was it.
You
know what I mean? He made everybody happy. You know what I mean? Sometimes it wasn't the best thing, but you know what I mean? he didn't like conflict. He didn't like any of that, but he always made you feel like you were the most important person in the room when you were there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I said, he was a role model. He was involved in everything. Yeah. In everything. like I said, you couldn't ask for a more perfect father.
And he was relatively healthy prior to that point.
He had
Just
some
getting
many
older.
strokes, many things that were going on. He was in the hospital. He was 86 years old. He actually played pinochle that day. He loved to play cards.
Yes,
he played
yeah.
pinochle that morning, came in, had lunch. They were going somewhere else. And when my mom walked to the mailbox, my dad stood by the car, and that's when it happened. Lived life to the last day of his life.
There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, definitely. So that happened there. And then, like I said, life's life. You're raising 4 children, Memorial Day 2019, some family issues. And that was tough. That really was like a gut punch. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he said he's the Rock, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's tough because my sister and I, obviously, we're dealing with this the same. Like, we don't have any grandparents. We don't have a dad. Our mom lives in Arizona. So it's like, we only have each other
Right.
to bounce ideas off of, to come to when you're not okay. Obviously, I have my wife, but there's no fucking male figure in my life that is my family that I have. You know, my uncle's great and all, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So I get it. Things just are never the same after that.
No.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So we had some family issues that went on. And like I said, as a father, when your kids have problems, you know what I mean, and you can't solve them, they're gut punches. I don't know about yourself. I know for me, when things happen to other people in my family that I think I should be able to control and correct and fix and can't, it just makes me feel like a failure.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just the way my mind is. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but if I can't fix it, it's like I'm the loser. I should be able to take care of it. They're my kids.
I know, and it's like, it's unrealistic, but it's just the way you're wired.
Yep.
You know, football coach, or I know you coached your whole life.
Football,
and
basketball, baseball, all of them.
you're the guy. Like, you're the Rock for others that your dad was for you, right? So like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
you looked up to your dad. That's the way your dad did it.
Yeah.
Your dad took care of everything. He didn't show the emotions that he did it.
Zero.
You know what I mean?
Zero.
I saw my dad cry once. I I shouldn't say that. I saw my dad cry a hurt cry. I saw him cry when he lost his mom. You know, and I see him cry when I got married. He was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the joyous cries. But I
Right.
saw my dad cry once, sad. You know, like I said, that broke my heart.
Yeah, that's there's one very specific time where I saw my dad cry in the kitchen in the house we grew up on because his marriage was falling apart, and I saw him cry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only time I ever saw him cry.
And that person that you think is that knight in shining armor has a kink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's brutal.
I know. You know, it's like the one thing I share with my dad is the whole sobriety thing. So like, you know, he always knew what I was going through, but I never once thought about what the fuck he had to go through.
We never do. We're selfish.
Yeah. I mean, he got sober when I was in high school, so I never imagined like what him going to work every day. You know, we lost our house, he lost his marriage, and I never thought about any of that, what he was going through. Well, he'd just go to fucking work and just, you would never know.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
So then we turn around 2020. So I was 18. My dad died. Family issues in 2019. 2020, talking to my mother on the phone. She's like, Bobby, I'm going to get tickets for the basketball game playoff over at Moritz Hall, which is a big place by our area where they play Schuylkill League championship games. So I'm going to get tickets. I'm going to get fish dinner with Chloe and her friend and that kind of stuff. And then pick me up around 5 or 6 and we're going to go to the game. I said, okay, Mom, no problem. So at work again, all of a sudden the phone rings. It's my neighbor, Bobby. Your mom's laying on the kitchen floor. We can't get in the house. I said, what? I was just on the phone with her 5 minutes ago. And they said, we got to get home. So, you know, you like a knucklehead, I run out of the store, running home thing, trying to call my brothers. I called my one brother and said, Mom, something happened to Mom. I think she's dead. You know what I mean? Like, no smoothing it over. You know what I mean?
Right to
So
the
I
point.
just called right to the point. And they got to the house, but I was the first one to get the house. And I saw my mom laying on the kitchen floor, right below the telephone, right next to the chair that my dad had a massive stroke. And that was brutal. So within 2 years, I lost my mom and my dad. Yeah, tough.
it is tough.
Yeah, like I said, there was two pillars of my family. You know what I mean? And like I said, my mom, you know, like I said, my mom was the youngest, I think, of eight children, and she lost her mother young. So my mom was tough. You know what I mean? She had the softest heart in the world. You know what I mean? You always wanted to hug everybody. You know what I mean? She had the softest heart in the world, but she didn't want to show that, especially growing up. You know what I mean? I used to hold grudges. My dad works all day. All you do is stay at home. You know what I mean? But later on in my life, my mom was the one who paid for me to go to rehab. Back in 2002, rehabs were covered. My mom wrote the check for it.
Really?
She said, "Do you need this?" I said, "Yeah, I need it." Boom, she wrote the check for it.
Man. How'd your brothers and your sister take that?
Everybody.
Devastating.
Yeah, devastating. Yeah, my dad was devastating for all of us, but my mom, like I said, my mom was lonely. My mom and dad were married for 60 years. You know what I mean? So it definitely, my mom was lonely in the house. She could just see that it was getting to her. And I say to people, my mom and dad, even in death, took care of us. They died living their life. Yeah. You know what I mean? They lived life to the end. There was nothing that we had to take care of. There was nothing we had to do. They lived life to the end.
Yeah, that's like we talked about it before. That's like the beauty in it all.
Yes.
You know, if there's any way you'd hope to end your life, it sounds like the way they did.
Yeah. And like I said, both were 86 years old. Like I said, it was perfect. But like I said, it's but when that sudden things happen and you don't deal with them, that's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just like lets the things build up. You know what I mean?
See,
I can see even to this day, it's still hard that I don't even know if I fully accepted my mom and dad dying.
And that's what I was going to mention. How does one fucking deal with it? You know, my wife says to me all the time, she doesn't think I ever really processed my dad passing away. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, like how do you, yeah.
You know, you talk about it. I won't even I don't know about you, I won't even let myself get into a full-on tearful cry. If I feel it coming, I at this point, I'm able to just shut it the fuck down.
No, I'm not there yet.
No?
No. Yeah, like I said, if it's coming, it's coming.
It's coming,
yeah. I was at a dinner for my son the other day, and we were sitting there at the table. Everything was perfect, and a song came on the radio.
Yeah, that's usually what triggers
And
it.
the song came on the radio, and I could feel my eyes welling up. I just got up like I had to pee, just so nobody saw it. I didn't want to ruin the moment. I didn't want to ruin nothing. And I hope that they didn't see it, but that was the reason. I didn't have to piss. I just went in there trying to make sure my eyes were in water. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to ruin his birthday. You know what I mean? So, like I said, there's so many more emotional things that happened after my mom that, like I said, it's just emotional turmoil for me.
Yeah. Those kinds of things are tough.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like in sobriety and like even like active addiction, being an addict, being in recovery, I don't necessarily feel real feelings unless they're sad. If that makes sense. Like in sobriety, I don't typically get angry. I do get excited here and there, but the only real feeling that I feel is when sadness, Frankie, fucking motherfucker, is sadness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I think about my dad, almost to the point where I like to be sad. I won't cry, but I like to sit in that shit for a little bit because then I can actually feel something.
Right.
You know, does that make any sense?
Yeah. Like I said, I know for me when you're in an active addiction and that kind of stuff,
Can't feel anything.
You're doing it to numb. But I just heard this the other day. It's not that we think we're trying to hide and numb all the bad ones. But what happens is we numb all of them. So we can't feel any joy.
Yeah, there's no joy.
We can't feel any gratitude. We can't feel any support. We can't feel any love. We can't feel anything.
Yeah, nothing is real.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And we can't process that. You know, we just think that we're hiding the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Everything else is good. You know what I mean? We're getting through, but no, you're not.
Yeah. But we just get so used to fucking coping that way. It's like you don't even realize what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that was 2020. Yeah, 2020 when Mom died. That was September. So we go into 2021, COVID. You know, we all get COVID. The restaurants closed down. We were very lucky. We're on a corner of a major highway 309 with a traffic light, big parking lot, and that kind of stuff. Here, when COVID happened, a lot of people didn't realize we're known for our ice cream.
Okay.
From the ice cream shop. They didn't realize how much food we sold. So since I took it over, I started pushing the food. Well, here during COVID, all the bars couldn't serve food. Everybody was closing down, so nobody, this generation doesn't cook. They're like, what am I going to do? So we were lucky enough that we had takeout windows. because of ice cream.
Right.
And then we were big enough parking lot and that kind of stuff where people were coming and calling me, hey, Bobby, do you mind? We're going to come up to 2 families. We're going to sit in the bottom of the parking lot. We're going to bring a case of beer. We're going to hang out. Okay, guys, go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to $100 takeout order for food. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that actually, I say COVID helped my restaurant get out there for the food we sell and made us sustain what's going on
Right. Not to mention the community probably felt, I mean, they probably loved you guys already, but like just the fact that the community had somewhere to go to feel normal during that tough time. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So we all came down with COVID. We all had to take our time off and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was Memorial Day weekend of 2021. My son's graduation party, Dante's high school graduation party, and families together. My nephew, who works with the public and that kind of stuff, you know, haven't seen each other because of COVID and that kind of stuff. And we're there, and he says, Uncle Bob, he said, something's not right with Aunt Linda. I was like, what are you talking about? Linda's my wife. Mm-hmm. And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, she's talking funny. And well, you know it, we thought she had like long hauler from COVID. Like she always has a dry cough and that kind of stuff. So we as a family sitting around the table, we were making fun of her, like because she was like mumbling words and that kind of stuff. He said, no, Uncle Bob, I think there's something wrong. So we made a doctor's appointment and go to a doctor's appointment. And my mother-in-law had ALS and died from ALS. And at that time, they told us it was not genetic. So my wife never had a concern about it. Never wanted to talk about it, never anything. So we go into the doctors and we're talking, asking all these questions. And I bring up, because my nephew had said something because he knew the history of the family. And I said something to the doctor and I says, well, my wife's mother died from ALS. And my wife punches me.
Oh, geez.
Why would you say anything like that and this and that? And so the doctor said, let's look into this. So started looking into it, and I guess it was June or July, my wife got her first diagnosis, and then September 21st of 2022, my wife got her, 21, she got diagnosed with ALS. And you want to talk about just sucking the complete life out of you.
Yeah.
You know, complete life out of you, because you know what's going to happen. I lived with it through my mother-in-law.
You've seen it?
Seen it. Watched my father-in-law deteriorate. Watched my father-in-law passed away 10 months after. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know what's coming. My wife was she couldn't accept it. And I don't blame her. You know, my wife wanted to live. She looked at me and said, all I want to do is see grandkids. And I looked at all my kids and said, if any of you get pregnant right now, I'm going to kill you. Because none of them are married. But no, like I said, it was just completely devastating.
And she just didn't want to deal with it.
She didn't want to deal with it. She loved life, prayed all the time. You know, like I said, my wife, no woman is perfect. No man is perfect.
No.
My wife was pure. She had a pure heart. She was an Italian woman. If you pissed her off, she held a grudge. Don't get me wrong.
Forever.
Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. No, but but she was pure. She would, she had the kind of soul. She would see a hitchhiker going, she wanted to pick up the hitchhiker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She wanted to give everybody everything. You know what I mean? And it was just her soul, and she just did not want to die. Didn't want to die. And like I said, so we went through ALS, and it was brutal. So I would say we're going Memorial Day 2023. We deal with ALS. We do everything that's going on. We're taking care of my wife, and it's so hard to get help to come into the house, nursing and all that kind of stuff.
Because of the COVID and all?
I think because of COVID, everybody got paid so much, so it was so hard to get anybody skilled nursing. My wife had the variant of ALS, which was bulbar palsy part of it, and it affected her throat, so she couldn't swallow. So she ended up being on a feeding tube. We had to suction my wife, as we got into it. And you needed an RN, you needed a skilled nurse, and it's like $100 an hour to get somebody to come in, not covered by insurance. So what I ended up doing was we had the restaurants. My one son moved home from Dartmouth. My other 3 children are at home, 2 were in college. And my 2 oldest boys started running the restaurant for me. So I'd go up at night, you know what I mean? I'd go up in the morning, and then, like I said, I took care of my wife all day long. You know what I mean? Which I wish on no one.
Oh, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, I wish.
It's like
I wish on no one.
When we met in treatment, and you shared some of the stories on what that looked like. You can't help but think about if that was you and your wife, and it's almost to the point where like you don't even want to share anything about your wife because of what you're doing, what you're going through. So
yeah,
You know,
Like
I can't imagine.
it absolutely sucked. You know what I mean? And like I said, what was hard too is because she was so afraid she wouldn't talk about it. She wouldn't talk about the disease. She wouldn't talk about nothing. And she got to the point where she would, she would play on her word pad. She'd watch TV, you know what I mean, and that kind of stuff. But when people would come over, she would, acknowledge them that they're there, but she didn't want to have conversations with anybody. I could be in the house for 12 hours for a day. I still have the text. I can give you 4 or 5 texts for being in the house with her for 14 hours. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to get changed. I need food. You know what I mean? It's not like, how are you today? There's no conversation. There's no nothing.
Now, does this affect your brain?
Oh, the AL? No.
No, right? So she still has all her thoughts and emotions and feelings. She just
Can't
can't express them.
Yeah, for the last 2 years, she didn't talk. It was brutal. So that's when I started to, really get in my head. You know what I mean? And I was trying to do everything for my wife, do everything. Now go back to that point we talked about being dad. You know what I mean? I tried to take all my kids' pain and my kids' grief and try to take everything and try not to let it affect them. Mm-hmm. And that was so wrong. So wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not God.
So at this point, it's kind of like AA and sobriety is just like not even on the radar.
No,
I mean, you haven't relapsed yet, but just
what were we talking about? 2021. I started drinking already.
right.
I started drinking. Yeah, I started drinking.
Post diagnosis.
No, after diagnosis.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
After diagnosis, I started drinking.
Like as a coping mechanism, like because this is important, right? So you started your wife gets a diagnosis, and no one can imagine what you're going through, and then AA is taking a back seat. And is it just like a coping mechanism? Did you feel the feelings of losing?
I didn't want to feel anything.
No, but did you feel the feelings of losing the time sober when you started drinking, or it wasn't even in your mind at that point?
Wasn't even a thought.
Just
Wasn't
like,
even a thought.
fuck it.
There's no way I could deal with this emotion. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. Didn't deal with it yet. Don't have them to turn to.
Yeah.
Here I am, dad. I'm supposed to have every answer for everything. Now, this is my mind telling me I have to have every answer.
Yeah.
I didn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's me. And I just started drinking to numb the pain. Numb the pain. I can't feel this. I can't watch my wife die in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
So like I said, I started drinking and started out with 1 beer out golfing. And like one of my sons said, "Dad, are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, it's been a long time. Don't worry about it. As long as I don't touch that other stuff. As long as I don't touch that other stuff."
But that's not, and you believe that in that moment.
Told my kids it. Even if they saw me having a drink and that stuff. "Dad, are you sure you're okay?" I said, "As long as I don't touch that other stuff, I'm fine. As long as I don't touch that other stuff, I'm fine."
Yeah.
So, like I said, I drank, and it went from having a beer on a golf course to sneaking some White Claws in the house because their kids were all at the age where they were drinking and partying at the house, to sneaking buying White Claws 12 packs because they figure they can't smell it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, the White Claws not being enough to drinking vodka, drinking Tito's, drinking a bottle of Tito's a day.
Bottle of Tito's a day. So what about all the guys you connected with in it? Just
never picked the phone up to call.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously, you know me, I've never had that kind of time sober, but I've had some. And as soon as you start, it's almost like every single person in your sobriety life, they don't exist no more. I'm not answering the phone. I'm not engaging in conversation because you can't. Or at least you feel like you can't.
Exactly.
So
I said this the other day. To me, if you think about addiction and when you're doing it, to me, the addiction's like the best friend that won't let you have any other friends.
yeah, that's a great point.
And if you go talk to somebody else, they're mad at you. And that's the way addiction grabbed a hold of me this time, that I didn't want to deal with anybody else. You know what I mean? I didn't want to deal with any emotion. I didn't want to deal with anybody. This is what I have to do. This is what's in front of me. This is what I know I have to do. And I got to get through this. How am I going to get through it?
Yeah.
And I chose the wrong way to get through it. So that was drinking. And it was, if you listen to the whole story, I hate Memorial Day.
Well, okay. There's quite a few times Memorial Day.
I hate Memorial Day. Okay, this is just so you know that. So Memorial Day weekend, 2023, kids are working all day at the restaurant. I'm home with Linda, cook all this food. We do everything. Kids come home. They go down to the beach. Summer holidays in our area and where we live are fun. You know what I mean? Everybody's out, everybody's picnicking, everybody's partying. So my wife at this time was on a feeding tube. She'd give her a medicine, give her a feeding tube. Said, honey, I'm going to go down to the beach. I'm going to get everything. So I cooked all this food all day, go down to the beach. I'm going to set the chairs up and that kind of stuff. I'll come back up and go down in the golf cart, go down and hang out. So I go down to the beach, get out of the car. Someone starts talking to me. How's lit? Don't even get to the beach. The chairs are in my hand. Next person stops me and talks to me. Now it's like 15, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? I don't even have the chairs to the beach yet. I'm talking to these people. They're out. And none of it's about me. It's about my wife. How's the kids? How's this, that. My wife texts me. She says, I can see how much I matter. Don't even bother coming back up for me. And I was like, that's it. That's it. It just destroyed me. I was like, what more could I do? One more, you know what I mean? I just basically surrendered at that time. So I walked back up to the house. I remember my son was in the house, and I looked at my wife and I said, honey, I'm sorry, but I'm done. I can't do this. I said.
What is that? What is that?
I said, I'm going for a ride, and I don't know if I'm coming back. And that was my exact words. So I drove over to my brother's house. Go over there crying my eyes out, drinking and stuff. So, have a beer, drinking. And when you know this that person that's on the shoulder, the one that you should never listen to, was like, I think it's time to go back to the stuff.
Yeah.
Time to go back to the stuff. You're at the point where you gave up. You know what I mean? So I was sitting there like, nah. So I make a phone call. No, actually, I made a text. The guy answers the text. And I said, hey, can I come over? He said, no.
Because he knew you were...
Oh, you knew I was sober, 18, 20 years sober.
Yeah.
Of not using. He said, no. I said, no, I'm serious. I'm coming over. No. It's like, I said, okay, no problem. I'll go get it somewhere else. He said, come on over. You know what I mean? Went over. I said, I want some... I said, do you have anything? He said, yeah. He laid out a line. I thought I was doing coke. I was doing meth.
This is the first time you've ever done that?
First time I've ever done meth. So I did meth. I said, I'm gonna need more than this. I said, give me 2 8-balls. Bought 2 8-balls, put them in my pocket. Before I put them in my pocket, laid another one out. He said, you don't need to do that. I said, I'm doing that before I leave here. Do you want some? He said, you don't need to do that. I said, I'm doing it. I'm fucking doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did the second one. About 10, 15 minutes later, I don't know what happened.
You got hit hard.
Hit hard. 30 minutes of my life that I don't know what happened. All I know is the next thing I must have made a phone call in the middle of it when something started to happen to my wife, who can't talk at the time, and said help. So
wow.
I guess I felt like I was dying. So he said help. So next thing you know, I'm driving on this mountain road and my kids are behind me. My phone's ringing.
They found you?
They find a phone.
Yeah.
They track you. So they come over and I'm driving the car and I'm swerving up and down the road. And they're like, Dad, pull over, Dad. And I was like, no. So I drove like 2-3 miles on this road and made it back to my brother's house. Don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how. Still have 30 minutes of my life that I have no idea what the fuck happened. But they were there. Kids were all pissed off at me, talking to me, never seen me like that in my life. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, they go back home. My brother says, "I'll stay there." So I stayed there. Well, I stayed there for a couple of hours, and then I went for a ride. I didn't sleep for like 3 days. For 3 days, I was
doing all the shit.
No.
Oh no.
Just off those first 2. Never touched those 2 8-balls. Because what was going on is the shirt you have, we had started a foundation for my wife, and the fundraiser was coming up June 10th. So this is Memorial Day weekend.
Right, a couple weeks later.
So 3 days, fuck, I'm fried. You know what I mean? So don't touch the stuff. Don't touch the stuff. Have a fundraiser and have an incredible fundraiser. When I tell you an incredible fundraiser, high school gave us the whole facilities to use that I graduated from. All the different sports teams from different schools around the area, they helped. The people helped. We had people sponsoring bands. We had a gift raffle where my neighbor gave a Disney trip away. You know what I mean? in one day we raised $90,000 for the Bleed for Linda Foundation for ALS. And it was just incredible. So as soon as that was over, I started hitting it. Started hitting the stuff.
Yeah.
So that was May. And by September, October, I was in full psychosis. Bad. Up 22 hours a day, every day.
Still running the restaurant.
Well, go up at night to the restaurant.
Yeah. Still taking care of Linda.
Taking care of Linda all day at the house.
Oh man.
Doing that shit at night. Going up to the restaurant. Dad, you don't need to go up at night. And that was my way to get away from Linda. It was a way for me to do drugs by myself.
Yeah.
Never did it with anybody else. Just always did it by myself. Mm-hmm. And it was brutal. You know what I mean? That beast captured me and didn't want me to feel anything.
Fucking takes over.
Took over me. I showed you a picture before we were laughing. I went from 242 pounds to 178.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was complete. So one Saturday morning in October, my nephews came down and my brother, and they did, all at the house and said, Uncle Bob, you got to do something. And I was like, at this time, I had charged my one son. You know what I mean? And got an argument with my oldest son, a little confrontation, which I've never done all my life. You know what I mean? I was completely gone.
You're not Bobby at that point.
No. So, like I said, they talked to me, and I went down to Lehigh Valley to go into the hospital, and for some reason, I didn't go. I didn't go to the treatment or wherever they wanted to. 2 days later it was, the brothers are at the house. They're like, Bob, you gotta go. You gotta do something. So they had crisis come in and that kind of stuff. And I had a 201 myself before they 302 me. So I 201 myself and went to a mental hospital. I was in there, and of course, the asshole I am, instead of being there for 3 days and coming out, I'm like, no, I'm not signing that paper. I'm not signing that paper. The doctor, psychiatrist said, okay, no problem. You're 302, you're here. It's like, fuck. So then, but at that whole time, I was like, I'll go to rehab. I said, I'll only go back to Caron. Mm-hmm. It worked before. I know what I needed. You know what I mean? So, and then that's when I met you.
So when did you actually check into Caron?
I think it was like the 20th.
Okay,
23rd,
yeah, I was
23rd that weekend.
Yeah, because I was the 20s. My sobriety is the 28th, but I showed up high on the 27th.
Yeah, I think I was like the 23rd. I think it was that Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they let me out that Monday to go down. My daughter, my youngest son drove me down.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't want to go away, I didn't want to go to do anything, is that I didn't want to be away from my wife.
Of course.
For those 2 years, I didn't go golfing. I didn't go water skiing. I wouldn't go anywhere. Everybody's like, Bobby, you got to go somewhere. Bobby, you got to do something, Bobby. You got to take care of yourself. And I was like, no. How could I go out and play golf and be on the second hole of the thing and get a call that my wife took her last breath? How am I supposed to live with that?
Yep.
So I didn't do it. And it was the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? Somebody actually said, self-health, is it a necessity or is it a luxury? And self-health is a necessity. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of everybody else.
No. But so during this, whole time from drinking to ended up in Caron, did you have anybody to talk to? Any support system that you would let in?
Yeah, I'm a best friend. You always ask me how I was doing. I would never tell anybody everything.
That's what I'm going to say. So there's no one you're being totally 100% honest with?
No. I couldn't let anybody in. I still have a hard time letting in. I almost had a panic attack coming here 2 days ago. 2 days ago, yeah, I'm not lying. I almost had a panic attack 2 days ago. Do you remember in Caron when I got rushed to the hospital?
I do.
Yeah, Saturday morning at home. Fucking, my heart rate was 178.
Oh my God.
What the fuck? I'm like, oh, calm down. You know what it is. I actually laid down, took a half-hour nap. Took a half-hour nap, got up, checked it. It was 78. I was like, okay.
Back to normal.
Yeah, but I had so much shit going on up here, so much, you know what I mean? How can I say it? My family is very distant from me since I came out of rehab.
Even to this day?
Yeah, even to this day. Very distant. Very distant. They don't agree with how I got through it, how I got through my wife dying.
What do you mean by that?
I think I had to do what I did to get through it, or, would I have left? Would I put her in a nursing home? No, I did. I took care of her. right to the end. And I could put my head in the pillow and say I did it. Did I do it perfectly? No.
Who could? Who could have?
But I did the best that I could do. You know what I mean? Did I do it for myself? Did I do it right through all of it? No. You know, getting addicted again was the worst thing I could do. I don't ever want to go back to where I was when I was in full psychosis. Never.
No.
Oh, I was scared. I still say to some people that my brain doesn't fire right yet. There's certain days, things will trigger my brain. It's like, oh, fuck. You know? I don't think it's wired right yet.
But I guess it's hard for me to understand completely, but I'm trying to like think about if I was one of your sons. You know, what was the conversations like with your boys and your daughter? Like when your wife got sick, not during the whole drinking and the using, but
How can I say it?
did they understand at all that, you know, this is my wife?
Yeah, they understood. They're losing their mother. I lost my mother. I didn't deal with losing my mother. I lost my mom in my 50s. They're losing their mom in their 20s. Like, I'm trying to protect them and let them deal with their grief however they want to do it. If they need to go out and party for 2 days, go ahead. If you need to go away for a vacation, go ahead. You need to do whatever you got to do. You guys do what you got to do. I'll take care of this, even though I can't take care of it. It's too much for me, but I'm dad. Mm-hmm. I have to have all the answers. I have to. You know what I mean? That's my mind. It's the way I feel I have to be. So I was trying to take on their grief, trying to take on their pain, trying to take everything when I had no right to do that. No right whatsoever.
You think that's where the contention comes from?
What's that?
You think that's where the issues come from?
Yeah, definitely. I could say Brene Brown. You listen to Brene Brown?
I have, of course.
Yeah. Shame. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The shame that I have for myself is just unbelievable. That when I look at my kids, I think they are ashamed of me for what I did, for going back out, and the way I acted and what I did. And that's very, very, very hard to live with. But at the same time, they wanted me to have all the answers. They wanted me to fix everything. They wanted me to do everything at whatever cost it was to dad. They didn't realize what the cost was. The cost was for me the relapse.
Do you ever have these conversations with your kids? Like,
No.
Well, I'm saying like, you know, your dad, your mom, yourself with your heart, then your wife.
I tell them.
Do you think they just maybe don't understand?
I don't know. I really don't know. You know what I mean? I know that they're in a lot of pain. They lost their mother. No one could replace a mother.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't care what you say, what you do. No one's ever going to replace her. You know what I mean? But here I am thinking I have to be both. When I was in full addiction, how am I going to be mom and dad? How am I going to take care of everything? How am I going to handle all this? You know?
Yeah. So from day one of drinking to rehab, how long did that last? About a year or so?
It was 2020. It was 2021, right after the diagnosis of Linda in September, and then 23, so 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And now you're coming up on a year on October 15th.
Yeah.
And the situation with your kids is
still tough. It's tough. You know what I mean? I just see the guilt and shame in their eyes.
Do you believe that is true, or is that just something you think?
I know my kids. I have, and I'm not kidding you when I say it, I have 4 of the best children that anybody could ever have. And I'm not kidding. I have so many people telling me how respectful they are, what they've just gone through, what they've gone through, everything. I know my kids. And I can see it in their eyes. I can see the conversations that we have. You know what I mean? And it's just, they're not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. You know what I mean? I just lost my wife. I lost my best friend.
Yeah.
So, I think before those conversations happen and could happen the right way, I got to be right. And I don't think I'm right yet to have those conversations. So I don't want to have them yet.
What are your guys saying in the program about how you feel?
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. You know what I mean? Just every day, make sure you hit your meetings.
Yeah.
Do your steps. I have a sponsor. You know what I mean?
My sponsors are very don't pick up one drink for one day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And as simple as that may seem, there's a lot of action to that.
Oh.
Right?
Without a doubt.
It's a lot.
Yeah. The guy who's my sponsor right now, I did not know at all. Didn't know before I saw actually one of my brothers. He has coffee at his grocery store every morning, and he said, "Hey, my brother's thing. Could you help him out?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "No problem. Tell him give me a call." So when I came out of rehab, that gentleman has called me, texted me, or taken me to a meeting or event every day since I came out of rehab. Yeah. And the only time I could say maybe 1 or 2 times didn't, because he texted me, I didn't answer him back. But I told him in the beginning, I said, "Listen, I can't have a sponsor right now. I can't do the steps. I can't be fully committed to you till everything happens with my wife." I said, "I'll go to meetings. We'll talk on the phone, but I can't do any step work. I can't do any of that till my wife passes." And then, like I said, right after my wife passed, we went to an event the other day, and I asked him to be my sponsor. So it was like 10 months in. 10 months in, I finally got a sponsor. Yeah. But I was hitting a meeting, church, and everything almost every day of the week. Yeah. You have to.
You absolutely
It's what's helping me get through every day.
Yeah. I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
I use the analogy of part of the guilt and part of the shame that I have is that I have a disease, and I truly believe that I have a disease, but there's medicine for my disease. And how selfish was I not to take the medicine that I should have taken so that I didn't relapse and go back out there, when my wife has a disease that has no cure, and she had no choice. Yeah. How fucked up was I in my head not to take my medicine? Yeah. All I had to do was pick up the phone. All I had to do was go to an AA meeting, and I never would have went into full psychosis. I probably never picked up that first beer. If I would have talked to people about losing my mom and my dad, family crisis that was going, just being a dad. They're everyday things that everybody goes through. Yeah. But to me, they were catastrophic in my mind.
And I know, because as painful as your situation was somebody else has gone through that in our program, and we know that. And that's the last person I want to talk to, right?
No, not now. Not now.
No, not now. But like
when you're in it.
Yes, when you're in it. Yeah. It's the last person. I remember I put together like a week and a half when my dad died, because I couldn't do the eulogy high or thinking about it. And a great friend of mine in AA said to me, "You're going to be able to help so many people by getting through this." And I fucking relapsed immediately. Like, took all that out of it. Okay. No way.
You didn't want to feel nothing.
Nah, no way.
You didn't want to feel with it, didn't want to deal with it.
No way.
Yeah, like I said, it's the addiction is so powerful that people don't realize it. Yeah. And it's crazy because, like, I talked about this the other day. I had open heart surgery, 2014. You know what I mean? 2014, there was everybody and their brother there to help me and my family. You know what I mean? Everybody was there to help me. 2002, I went over to rehab, had an addiction problem, that kind of stuff came out. Most of those acquaintances were gone. Mm-hmm. You had a few friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I say a couple, you know what I mean? You had a group of people that were there. When you relapse, there's fucking nobody there. There is nobody there when you come back out, when you relapse.
Yeah, it's like all the good things you've done and put together, like, they don't fucking matter now. Nope. Yeah.
No. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's tough, and then you got to realize you got to get down. When someone said in rehab, stop digging. You know what I mean? Yeah. I hit my bottom. Nah, you're still digging. You know what I mean? I don't want to dig no more. I don't want no more trapdoors. I want to go up from here.
Well, the blessing partly is that you had the 9-10 months sober when your wife did pass. Yeah. Because, I mean, who knows what would have happened if you didn't put that work in for that amount of time.
It was rough. It was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Like I said, it's, you could prepare all you want.
Yeah, fuck that, right? It doesn't matter.
I knew my wife was going to die. You could prepare all you want. You're never fucking ready. You're never ready. Yeah. Ever. There's people that say they are crazy. You can't be ready for that. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, some of the things we discussed in Caron will die in Caron, obviously, but some of the things that you're open about, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in the group that was breaking our hearts, because you can't help but think about if that was you in that situation. You know? I put my wife through fucking hell. Looked her dead in the eye and said some horrible things and left the door and didn't think about anything except for what I wanted to do. And I did it. I did it.
Yeah. No. I had one of my sons thought I was having a mental breakdown. Tried to, Dad, you need to go to the doctor. No, I'm fine.
Of course.
I lied right to his face that I was. Are you using that? No. Like, how could you admit to your kid that you're using?
That was, yeah.
Huh? How can you?
Yeah, because my daughter is the same age as one of your kids, at least, when I told her I was going to rehab for the third fucking time. And with that, you got to answer a lot of questions. You don't just go to rehab at 40 years old, because the past 39 years were good. So then I had to come clean to her. I had to come clean to her.
Yeah, and it's tough.
It is, because when you come clean, now she's connecting the dots in her own head about our relationship prior to that point, and whether it was because of my addiction or not, that's the connection she has with me treating her not the way Dad should treat her. And it's like, you gotta fucking live with that.
Yeah. And like I said, you're not worried about any of that.
Nah.
When you're in full addiction, you're not worried about anything except yourself.
Yeah. I before Caron, I lost my fucking mind. The things I was doing and saying and the way I was living, it was like, you're literally playing with fire.
Me too.
Yeah, cool. And that's obviously, that's not, that's why you end up in Caron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
But you said before about, you never wanting to go back to that state where you're in the psychosis. I can't, and you can't even imagine it. You can't even imagine the person that you were a year ago. Like, how the fuck was I doing those things, man?
So many people are like, what diet are you on, Pop? Oh, I'm just eating salad and fruit. Yeah, okay. But the other thing is, too, is like, yes, I lied to those people. I had to lie to those people. I had to get through what I was going through. And I apologized to all of them. But I can't. Some people don't want an apology. Some people don't. Some of my kids don't want an apology. You know what I mean? I just have to show them by the way I live my life.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And it's hard. You know what I mean? How could I say? I think you've talked about this before on one of the podcasts and that kind of stuff. Being connected is everything. Isolation is horrible. Mm-hmm. And when I isolated myself and I tried to take all the problems on and I did it, I just didn't want nobody around. And that's when it let the disease back in. You know what I mean? But to stay connected to anybody. You know what I mean? Inside the rooms and outside the rooms. When we were going through this, people say you have a village, you know what I mean? I had a freaking city. And I am not kidding you, the amount of people that offered to help, but they couldn't help me. I knew they couldn't help me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they would come over to help. And my wife, like I said, wonderful, wonderful. But she wasn't a good patient. She wasn't a good patient. You know what I mean? She wasn't. You could ask my kids. My kids sometimes are like, Mom, what? You know what I mean? But she was scared. I can't imagine sitting there being able to mentally know exactly everything that's going on and not be able to move a muscle, not be able to talk, not be able to anything.
Because we all got a clock on us, right? But hers is finite, and there's like, it's going to be soon, and she can't even express herself. Oh, man.
One of the days my wife accepted it was my wife, December, I think it was December of last year, she choked at the house, and it was devastating to all of us. Thank God all of us were home.
Right after you got out of treatment?
Right after I got out of treatment, yeah. Right after I got out of treatment, I'm home 17 days or whatever, my wife, she choked. So it was a decision whether she was going to get trached or not after that. So we had a friend who was a doctor down in Lancaster, and this guy saved my life, my kid's life. He saved my family. He doesn't even realize what he did for me. And he called me and said, hey, Bob, why don't you have her sent down here to Lancaster General? And so I got her sent to Lancaster General. We were 45 days in the hospital until we got everything straightened out.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
45 days. And like I said, that guy saved my life. You know what I mean? Saved my family, because I don't know what we would have done. It was like just to get everything taken care of. And the decision came that we ended up taking my wife home. We were trying to find a medical facility to go through, but one that we could stay at night with my wife, because none of us wanted to leave my wife. You know what I mean? We knew she was afraid. You know what I mean? But that time, those 45 days going down there, being in the hospital alone and all that stuff, is just brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. But in that hospital, I had to tell my wife that she had a variant of ALS, that she only had 3 to 6 more months to live. Her mother died from ALS and lasted like 5-6 years. My wife's diagnosis was 2 to 3 at the most. And if she didn't have a feeding tube, she would have been dead already. And when I told her, her eyes got wide open. She started crying. Never knew it, never looked it up. She didn't want to know.
She didn't want to know.
But we had to have that conversation because it was either get her trached, but once she got trached, then she'd go on life support. If she was on life support, she never comes off. We had to have those decisions made. And that's what the doctors down there helped us make those decisions.
Then what was your kids like when you guys making these decisions?
They did not want to see their mother on the machine. They did not want to see her on the machine with it. They wanted quality of life, not quantity. And I think my wife wanted quantity. She wanted to last as long as she could.
And how do you argue with that?
You don't.
You can't, right?
You don't. You don't argue with it. You know what I mean? You know, do you want to lay there and see things happen and not be part of it? Or do you want to live life quality till the last day you're gone? Now, I saw it with my mom and dad, and I saw it with my wife. 2 totally different spectrums. You know?
You know,
But I'll tell you what, both spectrums suck.
There's no good in this.
They suck. Yeah. You know, you got to deal with the emotions with both.
Do you share about any of this kind of stuff when you're at the meetings?
Yeah. I actually talked at a rehab last week.
Did you?
Yeah, up in Hazelton. One of the guys came up to me and said, "Hey, we want to talk to you. You have some time on you again?" I laugh, and people say I have time. I said, "Like I had 18, 20 years before, but you know."
That's its own mental mind fuck, I'm sure.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But I was like, "Yeah, I'll go up and talk." And my sponsor ended up going up with me. We went up and talked to rehab. I'll talk anywhere. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't realize for me to come out and say these things is tough. You know what I mean? Because I kept everything in. You know what I mean? Some people might imagine, might think it. You know what I mean? And my wife was in the hospital for 45 days. I had one family member, a nephew, come visit her. They didn't know if she was ever going to leave the hospital or nothing. Nobody came. You know what? And in my mind, they didn't come because I was there.
You think so?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Your kids didn't come either?
Oh, my kids were there.
Okay,
I'm talking about brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces.
Why wouldn't they come?
There was a party my wife died the 28th of July. There was a party at my brother's house, which is 10 miles away from my house. Mm-hmm. There was people that came out of town. There was nephews and nieces that came out. Not one of them drove over to see my wife. But when she died 24 days later, everybody was there.
Do you have resentments for that?
Stuff I'm working on.
Stuff you're working
as I'd say, it's tough. You know what I mean? I try to tell people. I hurt a lot of people in my addiction. I hurt a lot of people in the things I did. And if they're not ready to talk to me, I'm okay with that. But when they're ready, I might not be.
Which is okay too.
If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. But if I'm dealing with things and I'm getting through things and I'm getting by things, when you're ready, I might not be. I might have closed the chapter on that. And like I said, that's part of me getting to be where
Frankie, come on.
I could be whole and help people. I can't help people unless I get back to the right mind I was.
Yeah. And that's that's what they preach to us, right? Helping others gets us outside of ourselves. But sometimes you can't, I need to help myself before I can help somebody else.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's true because I lived it. You know what I mean? When I went to those meetings every day for a year back in 2002, 2003, and I was doing meetings and doing everything, grounded, going to church, doing everything, I had balance in my life.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that they tell us.
Oh, fuck yeah. I used to talk about it as teeter-totter, you know what I mean? You want to be up in the air, or you want to be, or you just want to be flat.
And it's tough. Like you talk about the balance. Like one, you lost a business, you're trying to build a business. You got it's just your health, your parents' health. Like, what did I just see? Somebody just sent me something. Sometimes whatever can go wrong goes fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And you got to deal with it.
Sometimes you got to go through the worst.
Yeah.
We were talking about movies the other day. These are one of the things that came into my mind. I don't think I have it on my phone here, but it was can't be we all have lost something, and there is nothing worse than. Hold on a second. We all have lost something in our life. There's nothing worse than losing to the fear of losing again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can't be in fear of that.
Well, and that's the tricky part of early sobriety for me is like facing fear and not doing something because of that fear. We talked about something before the podcast that, you know, I don't want to get into it on the podcast just yet, but you know, I'm conflicted with the fear of pursuing versus the fear of not, and why I'm scared either way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that happens in all areas of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. You think my one friend was a very close friend of mine. I had a union job with the business wasn't going nowhere. I had side jobs and that kind of stuff to say, fuck it. I have 4 kids at home, a wife, a house, and say, I'm going to take a gamble and run a restaurant. Because
Yeah.
I wish I had those balls. I don't see it as that. I feel it as I had no choice. I knew what I couldn't do. I couldn't live my life that way anymore, and I had to change it. And I changed it, and I did it all. You know what I mean? Dove right into it, and I'm making it work.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it work without my kids.
Because they're a part of the restaurant now too, right?
My oldest son, Anthony. If you want to take a model of an oldest son and put it there and have everybody else follow it,
He's the guy.
take it. Yeah,
He's the guy.
he would stay home 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week with his mother. Just sit there with her.
Right.
You know what I mean? He did. If I looked at him in the hospital when we decided to take Linda home, and I said, "Hey, bud, we have to have this conversation." I says, "I can't do this without you if we take her home. I can't. There's no possible way." He said, "Her last wish is to die at home. Let's take her home, Dad."
Oh God.
Yeah, like I said, it's
Yeah.
those are the conversations, and like I said, the respect. Unbelievable. Now, don't get me wrong. All of my children helped with their mother. All of them did it in their own way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I
But
understand.
my
that.
oldest son, Anthony, I could not, and he lives with me full time. I couldn't, and he's full time at the restaurant. I could not have done it without that guy.
I can only relate because my sister, before she bought her house, lived 2 doors down from my dad, and I'm in and out with my addiction, and she's there every single day. You know, checking on him, making him food, and every single day. And probably more of a daughter than I was a son at that time. And so I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
You know, like I said, it's now in recovery. I mean, in recovery, dealing with depression, dealing with losing the grief. You know what I mean? You've talked about it many times, and I had a gentleman who's in recovery for like 37 years listened to me talk at meetings and say, "Hey, Bob, you gotta go get a therapist. You're dealing with some stuff that's a little bit more in the AA rooms." That's all I have. I've been going to a therapist for the last 2 months.
Has it helped, do you think?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's great because it's some of the same principles that we learn in the rooms, but from a different angle.
Oh, hell
A different angle.
Yeah.
More it gets into your mind and why you respond to things the way that you do. And so I find it's paramount to my sobriety.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Like I said, you're dealing with stuff that even in the rooms people don't want to hear. You're dealing with life situations, not
Yeah.
dealing with addiction situations.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're dealing with life things that they don't belong in a room.
I-
They belong talking to a sponsor,
Yes.
but they don't belong in the rooms.
Right. It's a disease of feelings and emotions, but some things are not for an AA meeting.
Fuck.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
like I said. But yeah, like I said, it's
So what's your relationship like with Anthony now?
all fabulous.
Are you guys the closest
say-
right now?
No, I'd say my daughter's the closest.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
the one that visited you in treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, she was going to rehab and visited me down there. But like I said, I would say my daughter right now, I'm close with my son Anthony. I'm close with my son Nico. We're getting closer. Like I said, some distance there. And my son Dante, he's in college and he's living the college life a little bit. He's 22 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he lost his mother. You know what I mean? He lost a whole year of school because of dealing with. He should have dropped out of school for a year and took a leave of absence and went back and he did it. So now he has to do a whole other year of school.
Right.
So, but like I said, they're all grieving and doing their own way. Like I said, we're mending together little by little. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm at the point where I got to take care of myself.
Well,
I
sobriety has given you the opportunity to do the mending,
Yeah.
right? You believe that?
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I couldn't do this if I was addicted.
No fucking way, man.
I could give
No.
2 fucks about anybody and anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's the hurt that people don't, our families not that they even have to realize it, but that's what's like, it's hard for them to comprehend how we could be so fucking selfish and self-centered.
And we don't think we are.
No, you're just in it. You don't think one way or the other.
Well, I thought I was taking all my kids' pain. I thought I was doing everything for them, when all in reality was just causing them more pain and more grief. They wake up every day thinking, is Dad going to relapse? Is Dad going to get fucked up again? How's Dad going to handle the next situation? Yeah. My kids should never have to think of that, ever.
I know.
You know, and the only way I'm going to get that out of their mind is by living life the right way.
That's it. That's it. Like, you hear it all the time. My therapist is sober, and you hear it in the room is just do the next right thing. Yeah. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I know, but it's all true.
But how true is it?
Yeah, there's one-liners. They all hit. They're all right. They're all accurate. It's just, can you listen? Can you fucking hear what the fuck we're telling you? This shit works.
How about trigger? What's triggers for you?
What's triggers for me?
Yeah.
Sadness, right? You know, it's tough. I've talked about this dog for a while, and I shared Friday night reluctantly, but it was so raw Friday night. Like, we got to put this dog down. And, you know, some people might think it's fucking stupid. Some people, it doesn't fucking matter, but it's not me handling it. When we put our bulldog down a couple years ago, my wife didn't work out for a fucking year. Oh, she was so depressed. But he was sick. He had uncontrollable seizures for a whole weekend straight. The medicine stopped working, and he was 13 years old. Barkley's healthy, but he's got some screws loose, and he keeps trying to fucking attack me. And we made a decision after the last one that it's time. And her being so sad is fucking hard to deal with. Frankie, shut the fuck up. Her being so sad is hard to deal with. You know, my wife and I, we don't fight often. And if we do fight, it's like, if it was a 10 before treatment, we're at like a 2 or 3. So it's like, it's always very manageable, and usually we end the night fine. But when I fight with my wife, that's a trigger. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because nothing is right. It's like almost like relapsing. Like, where nothing's right. If my wife and I are fighting and we're at odds, like, nothing is right. And I don't like feeling that way.
Right.
You know, but like, I've been so plugged in this time with the program, and like, I thought about drinking once in the middle of the summer. This is actually the same day of the Trump assassination. not
is that why?
No, I would never remember that day if that didn't happen. But you know, my wife was out drinking, and that wasn't the reason why. I was off. I wasn't sharing about. I was too overwhelmed and chasing opportunities with my profession, and it just was consuming my brain. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want to feel this way. I'm going to drink on Monday morning, and go to work, and no one's going to know, and that's going to be that. And I talked about it till I beat it to death, and I put it behind me. But I really haven't had any situation other than that where I thought about drinking or using it, because the pain before I went to treatment this time was fucking brutal, man. It was brutal. You know, I refused to get away from AA this time, at least today. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, I heard something in a meeting one time. It was genius. AA works so well, I stopped coming. Right? I'm like, yes, exactly. And but that just can't be me this time. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I you know, my buddy just texted me I wouldn't be able to be here for my wife during this time, and if I was drinking and using. Yeah. And you know, I was drinking and using when my dad died. I was drinking and using when my dog died. You know, I was drinking and using for everything, man. You know what I mean? And like you said about it when you had the surgery, like, you're thinking about all the time you wasted. Yep. It's so much.
Fuck yeah.
It's so much, man. You know, it's like, I went to my second treatment, which was my first with my wife, a year and a half after we started dating. You know, and I put it through so much fucking hell, man. And you know, you don't even get, you know how it goes. You don't even think about it.
No.
You don't even think about it.
No. Like I said, my wife stayed with me through everything.
Yeah.
And like, I tried to put it in my mind that, like I said, there's not anyone that'll ever fill the void of my wife.
It's impossible.
It's 4 children with her, 36 years of my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. The person that was there for me. She stopped drinking the first day. She stopped drinking in 2002 when I stopped.
Really?
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Like I said, didn't have another drink since. Yeah. Huh. Like I said, that was the person that she was. You know what I mean? But I have to figure out that it's okay to close the door on that, because no one's ever going to replace that. But I got to be able to build something else. I got to be able to move forward. I know that I don't want to do things by myself the rest of my life. I want to share it. You know what I mean?
That's natural.
That's what I worked all my life
That's
for.
natural.
Do you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
there was a couple times this past towards the end of the summer, you know, I live on a lake, have a boat, sitting on the boat, 85 degrees, sitting out there by myself. Well, I shouldn't be alone by myself in the first place, but I wanted to enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it for the last 3 years. I go golfing by myself. You know what I mean? Sometimes just to get better at golfing, just to get out of the house. But I don't want to be doing things alone. I want to share it with someone, anybody, just to be. I went 2 years without having conversations.
Well, I
You
think
know what
it's
I mean? Just a conversation.
Yeah, it's natural. I feel like it's a natural human emotion feeling to want a partner in life.
Yeah, just somebody to share something with.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
You know what I mean?
It does
Because
make
like
sense.
I said, I had the conversation with my daughter. There's no one that could replace your mother. There's no one could replace my wife. And it's not fair for me to ever put someone in that position. I don't want to be put in that position.
Yeah.
I'm me. You know what I mean? I'm me. If you don't like me for who I am, okay. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Because this is what I got to do. You know? I come with a lot of baggage too. Don't we all?
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like it's just the beauty of it all is the fact that we met at, you don't go to treatment, because you just want $1 million. We're all as low as we possibly can be. We're in the relapse men's unit because that's what we do. We relapse. And like we text every morning.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Every morning we get a text from each other. You usually text me first, and then I text her back.
Yeah.
I'm usually up already.
Yeah.
We get sometimes I don't get the message I send to you till 9:30.
Yeah.
And I send it after that. It all depends how busy the day is.
And like that's the one thing I've changed this time in recovery is actually like trying to be engaged with other sober people. You know what I mean? Because it's not easy.
But you don't know how the joke this is going to be on. Some people see this because I don't have pets. You know what I mean? I'm not a dog. But everywhere I go now, the fucking dogs love me. They're all over me.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Yeah.
She's a good girl. Yeah, like I said, I'm going back up one of the things I'm excited for. I'm speaking November 2nd for my year, and then the next day is Sunday. My wife and I are going to go up to Caron. And the only rule I broke up at Caron was running up the mountain. You know what I mean? So my wife and I are going to run the mountain after chapel.
You don't know how bad my feet hurt me because I didn't have sneakers there. I was walking around in
And your Hey Dudes.
Oh my God, my fucking feet hurt so bad. I was walking how many miles a day?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that place was great.
Yeah.
That place was great. Who was I talking to? I was joking. Like, I don't know how it's going to shake out at chapel. Like, I'm going to see Dorothy, but I'm going to thank her and be there. So I don't know if I'll get a coin there or not. Or I have no expectations for that. But in my head, I'm like, if I get a coin and I go up to that fucking altar, whatever it is, I was so annoyed by the fucking the people that pay to be there, that stay in the expensive side. Yeah, how they would all sit in the front row. I'm like, these motherfuckers, just because you're rich, you think you're going to be more sober than me, right? Because you're just in the front row. And I'm making this is how I felt in treatment, right? And I'm thinking, how can I make a joke? Because I know those executive people are going to be there, and I'll say, I used to sit in the third fucking row because the fucking executive people got here before me.
They paid for their
Yeah, they paid for this. Like, if I paid out of pocket to be here, would I be more sober? You fuckers. Like, but these are the thoughts I had actually in treatment. You know what I mean? So, dude, the best thing about sobriety is we can take some of the most horrible shit and fucking joke around about it. It's not that it's a joke, but if you like, it's okay to express yourself and the pain you cause and find a little bit of, some like levity in the situation because it was so bad, dude. It was so bad.
Like I said, you didn't want to be at rehab.
No.
I didn't want to be at rehab. We both had to be there for a reason to be there. But like I said, every day that I was at rehab and every minute I was at rehab, I'm wondering if my wife's going to take her last breath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, people don't understand that. Like I said, it's so hard to wrap your head around. You know what I mean? Like, did I put everything into rehab that had to be there? Yeah. Did I or didn't I?
Dude, you were like a huge part of the fucking group because of the guy you were. You know what I mean? Like you were like one of the people that just kept it all together. We had some bullshit going on up there. You're in rehab, obviously you're gonna have that. But you were always a calm, cool headed person. And
like I said, I didn't want to be there physically because I wanted to be at home. I knew mentally I had to be there. And every time we went to something, I gave it my all. I
course.
talked. I did you know what I mean? I was vice president just like you.
Yeah, vice president. I had the one guy on, he's like, I was president, bro. I'm like, oh, whatever, I was vice president.
But no, like I said, I mean, we are where we're at today in our lives because of what we went through. We just have to learn from our lessons and don't repeat them.
Well, Bobby, you've been through a lot, man. Yeah. You've been through a lot. And you're coming up on your year. That's important. And I don't know if you feel like this or not. It's hard, like, well, probably because you have 4 beautiful kids. And, you know, yeah, I'm proud to be a dad. I'm proud to be a good husband. But there's not many things in my life where I do or accomplish and feel any sense of pride. I'm just like, you're just doing these things. But I'm really proud to have the opportunity to get the year next month. And
yeah, you should be proud of what you're doing right here. Because if this helps one person, and that's what my thought is about coming here. If I could help one person get through what they're getting through and not cause the pain that I've caused or not feel the shame that I feel, I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You did.
And that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? You got to pay it forward.
You do. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the AA program. That's why my wife and I, we thought about doing this. It's like, stop being a fucking taker. I've been a taker my whole life, dude. You know what I mean? I've been a taker my whole life.
A robber.
Yeah.
You've robbed a lot of people.
And I mask it by thinking this is the way I'm supposed to be, right?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, man.
Oh, no, thank you for this opportunity, like I said.
I didn't realize you golf so fucking much.
Me? I used to way back in the beginning before, like, kids started baseball and all that kind of stuff, and I just stopped. But what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
Where else am I going to waste 3-4 hours?
Yeah.
And be outside and do all that stuff? I just, like I said, I'm trying to golf twice a week. You know what I mean? Like I said.
Yeah, I played like 100 times last year. I didn't play once since I got sober because I just wanted to keep the foundation and the routine going for the whole year and not jack it up. But
I mean, I was at the Mets-Phillies game over in New York 2 weeks ago. I was at a Penn State game last week. I've been to a couple of college games, high school basketball games, golf. I don't want to. It's not that I want to be in my house. I don't want to be in my house alone. Yeah. I don't want to sit there.
Well, you're living.
You're
living.
Yeah. I'm doing what I have to do to keep my mind going in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, I love you, brother. I'm glad you came down here. I know you're a little far away. And
no, I stayed over in Gladwin last night. Kevin and Sharon's house, beautiful home over there. They took me to Ralph's last night.
Oh, Ralph's?
Yeah,
I've been there.
Reservations at Ralph's. That was fabulous.
There.
Yeah, that's old time Italian.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Oh, that's really good food.
South Philly Ralph's, right?
Yep.
Is that the one with
9th Street?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it's either Ralph's or one other spot.
What's the one on South Street? There's another one on South.
There's a million of them.
Yeah.
Is Ralph's the one where they have all the hot waitresses?
No, I don't think so. It's all waiters, I thought.
Okay, there's another place.
Ralph's is 3 stories high.
I think
so. Block.
Yeah. Yes. There's another place my wife and I went to down there. Even she said it, like, why are all these waitresses so fucking pretty? And I'm like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, sure you did. Her name is.
But, I mean, you've been through a lot, brother, and I can't imagine what that's like for you. And the fact that you're here today, living your life and, you know, mending the relationship with your kids and staying sober, being involved. And that's what it's all about, dude.
And like I said, I appreciate the opportunity for you to help me stay sober.
Yeah, well, I think the timing was perfect because, you know, what's that? In 9 days, you'll have your year.
Yeah.
28th online.
And I told you I wouldn't do it till after we talked in the beginning, and I said I'm not doing nothing until after my wife passes away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows when that would be? Yeah, and that's what I said. But I told you after, and then we talked, and here I am.
It worked out.
Kept my word.
Yes.
So,
any final thoughts, brother?
No, like I said, I just think what you're doing is fabulous. Keep doing it. You got to pay it forward. You know what I mean? And like I said, stay connected.
That's it. What did we learn at treatment? The opposite of addiction is connection.
Yeah. And it is the truth. You have to stay connected. It's the AA rooms. It's the people you can talk to. It's to your therapist. It's just your childhood friends. Yeah. Not every person that's not in AA is a bad person.
No.
You know?
No. My sponsor always says, alone with your thoughts is behind enemy lines. And he's right. Yeah. All these dumbass things. I'm like, all right. Dude,
there's so many dumbass things you hear.
But they're all right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You just chuckle. You just put your head down. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you just find out how it can connect with you. And, you know, there's so many. You know, we never stop learning. We never stop growing.
Nope.
You know? Thanks, brother.
Thank
Love
you
you,
very
man.
much. Love you too. Thank you.
Good stuff.
I guess I want to end it this way.
Love you, bro.
Yeah.
We love you, Dad.
I love all of you.
We love you, Darnell.
I love you too.
Wow, that was nice.
And I tell you what, let's go back!